Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will explain about Atlach-Nacha. Atlach-Nacha, also known as the spider goddess or the spinner in darkness, is one of the Ogdru Hem and a spider-like old one. She was initially an uneasy ally of Lucifer during the twilight of the Hyperborean age. Atlach-Nacha resembles an enormous but hideously monstrous spider, with a black color and faded red streaks along its back, long spindly legs, an anthropomorphic face capable of some human expression, and the face itself acts as something of a carapace that opens and exposes the more monstrous archanoid features of the goddess. Its expression is said to be one of both doubt and inquiry. History. Origins. Like the rest of the Ogdru Hem, Atlach-Nacha was born of the slivers of chaos that festered through the newly born universe. And also like her fellow Ogdru Hem, she hid from the wrath of the archangels who hunted down the fleeing Ogdru Hem to destroy them. For a time she dwelled and hid within Atlach-Nacha, otherwise known as the planet Saturn in the modern age, until she received word of a host of old ones moving to one particular planet, Earth. After the Battle of the Powers, Atlach-Nacha was one of the few Ogdru Hem that escaped the attacks of the Elohim and their forces. There, in a ravine south of the mountain Vormithadrith, which would be far south from Hyperborea's borders. It was from there she established her dark abode, and devoured all the light she could find. After each feeding, she spun dark webs of gloom that strangled all passing light. Alliance with Lucifer. Lucifer knew that the Hyperborean people wielded the famed fires of Betrayal which he so desperately sought and once failed to attain during the war in heaven. And given the advancement of the civilization's defense along with them being protected by the angel Rahab, even Lucifer understood that this would be no easy task by himself and sought the aid of Atlach-Nacha. Lucifer was warned by his fellow monarchs of the risks posed to allying with an Ogdru Hem, but Lucifer is already aware of her predictable betrayal, and for the time being they will play their part in aiding one another for similar yet differing goals. Lucifer came to her at Mount Vormithadrith, and told her of his plans as he was cloaked in a shroud of darkness weaved by Tananiver. Though she was tempted greatly by Lucifer's plan for her to help him reach the kingdom of Hyperborea beneath the sight of Rahab and the great Hyperborean people, where he would acquire the Betrayal that lay burning within a holy pyre and where she would be allowed to devour the sunlit gardens. However, she feared the power of heaven and was hesitant to accompany him. To mollify her, Lucifer offered to sate her hunger with whatever she wished if she would aid him. She agreed, and Lucifer said he would return when the Hyperboreans were at their darkest times. Though she discreetly planned to devour Lucifer himself when the opportunity presents itself. During the twilight of the Hyperborean age, Lucifer returned and gave her the cloak weaved by Tananiver for her to devour, and by assimilating the dark properties of the cloak, she wove a shroud of darkness over her and Lucifer as they made their way towards Hyperborea. The two moved within the depths of the ocean, and the spinning of Atlach-Nacha's webbed trail created what modern humans describe as the midnight zone in the dark depths of the ocean. They would finally reach Hyperborea as the kingdom was in disarray due to Hyundai's machinations, and would use the collapse of the civilization as a distraction to move through the darkness where the Hyperboreans were none the wiser. Having finally reached the gardens where the Betrayal pyre was held, Lucifer allowed her to indulge herself in the consumption of the garden's beauty as he went to take the Betrayal. Upon returning, Lucifer was surprised to see the spider god's form grow more hideous in size from devouring the divine garden before they fled. Betrayal. When they arrived in Samaria in the Aglofian mountains, Lucifer, weakened from attempting to contain the secret fire, started to part ways from Atlach-Nacha. However, The spider goddess stopped him and demanded that Lucifer surrender the secret fire, to which Lucifer refused. Atlach-Nacha reminded him that he promised her that he would satiate her hunger with whatever she wished, but Lucifer corrected her by saying that he already did allow her to indulge herself in the sunlit gardens as he helped himself to the secret fire, therefore he upheld his end of the bargain. Lucifer would again refuse Atlach-Nacha's demands, telling her that consuming the fire would only result in her destruction, to which she attacked the morning star, and said that the fire too betrays him, and should she perish she would at least take pleasure in death, knowing she devoured the Almighty's most favored child. Weaving her dark webs, she attempted to enmesh him in her nets and take the vril by force. Despite Lucifer being weakened from his struggled containment of the vril, he fought back against the monstrous spider goddess, to which then, much to both his and Atlach-Nacha's surprise, the vril responded to Lucifer's distress and unleashed a blast of blinding light that repelled Atlach-Nacha away from Lucifer. The brilliance of the vril's radiance burned Atlach-Nacha's being, causing her to let out a terrible screech that echoed through the mountains all the way throughout the forest that surrounds it. She suffered several wounds from Lucifer's attacks, forcing her to flee. Later years, Atlach-Nacha fled to the deepest caverns of Mount Vormithadrith, spinning a great web of darkness, and bridging the many caverns of the underworld together. She remained there during the destruction of Hyperborea until it became the Arctic tundra it is known for. In addition, she no longer leaves her dwelling, even for a moment, as she developed a fear and hatred to the light after her scuffle with Lucifer. Despite her defeat, Lucifer did provide her with the necessary power to one day throw the world into chaos. The silk she produced from devouring Tananiver's shroud held properties that connected it to the collective unconscious of dreams, as Tananiver was a beast that invaded the dreams of those targeted by Lilith. She would begin to weave a web that acts as a bridge between the dreamlands and the waking world. It is believed that when the web is complete, the end of the world will come. She would also gather servants of her own, though she pays them no mind. The servants in question are only referred to as the daughters of Atlach-Nacha, where her children, known as the Spiders of Leng, coerce or kidnap women into the spider goddess's service. Eventually the women undergo a nightmarish transformation, as they shed their skin and change into a giant spider, after which they join Atlach-Nacha in its lair, helping it weave the great web.